Welcome, brave souls. Tonight, I invite you to join me as we delve into the haunting shadows of Anfield Stadium, a place where the echoes of the past linger. In this chilling episode, I'll share two horror stories that will make your heart race and your skin crawl. From ghostly apparitions to the presence of pure evil lurking in the stands, these tales will leave you questioning what truly resides in the darkness. So gather your courage and let's step into the eerie world of Anfield together. Number 1. The Phantom of the Cop. It was a cold, foggy night when I found myself alone inside Anfield. As a lifelong Liverpool fan, I had always dreamed of standing on the Kop with no one around. But that night, something felt wrong. I had signed up for a special late-night stadium tour, but somehow I got separated from the group. The stadium was eerily silent, except for the occasional rustle of the wind against the old seats. I decided to explore a bit, feeling a strange pull toward the stands. As I climbed the steps of the Kop, my breath visible in the freezing air, I heard it, the unmistakable sound of someone singing "You'll Never Walk Alone." I froze. The voice was deep, mournful, and echoed around the empty stadium. I turned, expecting to see another lost visitor, but there was no one there. Just rows and rows of empty seats. My heartbeat quickened. Then I saw him, a shadowy figure in an old Liverpool kit from decades past, standing right in front of me. His face was hidden in darkness, but I could feel his eyes burning into mine. "The Kop is never empty," he whispered, "not even in death." A sudden gust of wind rushed past me, and the figure vanished into thin air. But the singing continued, growing louder, until it felt like thousands of ghostly voices were chanting together. I ran. I sprinted down the steps, my footsteps echoing through the empty stadium, but the voices followed me. They didn't stop until I burst out of the exit gate, gasping for breath. From that night on, I never watched a Liverpool game the same way again. Because now I knew the Kop was never empty. 2. The Cursed Boot Room. As a journalist, I had been granted special access to Anfield's historic boot room to write a feature on its legacy. The room, once the brain of Liverpool's greatest managers, had been restored to its former glory. But the moment I stepped inside, I felt it. A suffocating weight in the air, as if I wasn't supposed to be there. The walls seemed to close in on me, and the faint scent of sweat and leather lingered despite the room being empty for years. I took out my notepad, trying to ignore the eerie silence, and started writing. But then, a boot fell from a shelf. I jumped, my heart pounding. I picked it up. It was old, scuffed, and looked as if it had been worn decades ago. Then another boot dropped, and another. Panic set in as boots began tumbling from the shelves, one after another, hitting the ground in a deafening rhythm. The door creaked, and I turned, only to see a shadow standing just beyond the doorway. It was a man, dressed in an old Liverpool training tracksuit, his face obscured by darkness. "You don't belong here," he said, his voice a low growl. I stumbled backward, but he didn't move. He just stood there, his presence growing heavier, darker. The lights flickered violently, and the walls seemed to shake. Then, just as suddenly as it started, everything stopped. The boots lay still on the floor. The air was dead silent. The figure was gone. I ran out of the boot room, vowing never to return. Later, when I told an old groundskeeper about my experience, he shook his head solemnly. "Some say the spirit of an old manager still lingers there," he muttered, making sure no outsider messes with the boot room's legacy. That night, I deleted my article. Some stories were never meant to be told. 3. The Red Mist. I had always dreamed of standing on the Anfield pitch, so when I got a job as a night security guard at the stadium, I thought it was the perfect chance to experience the magic of the place alone. But some nights, the magic felt more like a curse. One particular night, as I did my usual rounds, I noticed something strange. The floodlights flickered, even though they were supposed to be off for the night. Then, a thick red mist started to rise from the pitch. At first, I thought it was fog from the cold air, but this mist had a pulse. It moved unnaturally, swirling in patterns, creeping toward the stands like something alive. Then I heard it, footsteps. Heavy, deliberate footsteps echoed from the tunnel. I turned my flashlight toward the source, my heart hammering in my chest. The tunnel was empty, but the footsteps didn't stop. They grew louder, closer. Then the mist took shape. A figure emerged, a man in an old Liverpool jersey, his face twisted in rage, his eyes glowing a deep bloody red. "You stole it from us," he growled. I stumbled back. "Stole what?" I managed to whisper. He took a step closer, his presence radiating pure hatred. The league, the title, the glory that was ours. Then I understood. He was one of the forgotten ones, one of the fans who had lived and died waiting for Liverpool to lift the trophy again before their long drought ended. The mist wrapped around my legs, holding me in place. My lungs burned as the air grew thick. The ghostly figure raised his arms, and suddenly the stadium roared. The sound of thousands of fans screaming in agony filled the empty stands. It was deafening. I shut my eyes, covered my ears, and when I opened them again, the mist was gone. The stadium was silent, but on the pitch, burned into the grass, was a single phrase: "We never stop believing." That was my last shift at Anfield. Some spirits, I realized, never leave the game. Thank you for joining me on this spine-tingling journey through Anfield Stadium. I hope these horror stories have sent chills down your spine and left you with a sense of unease. If you enjoyed this exploration of the supernatural, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more terrifying tales. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What did you think of tonight's stories? And remember, the shadows hold many secrets, so keep your eyes open and your heart racing. Until next time, stay safe and keep the lights on.